Second reading of the money. And then, I always have a public comment after we get to 3 minutes. You hold your comments till after the meeting. I will do the prayer, and Mr. Appointment will do the prayer. Well, you know, there's a lot of terrible things going on in this country. Let's take a moment to silence. Gracious Father, we come to prayer with thanksgiving in our hearts. Thank you for all the blessings you have bestowed. Realize without you, we couldn't have accomplished it. Father, we wish not to thank you for the Son Jesus, not to be possible. I pray for his dear. Keep his wisdom, knowledge, and understanding. Keep his grace and understanding. I pray for his dear in the things as well. I pray for the people in the audience, Father. Thank you for your mercy. Father, realize that you are in control. Give us the guidance and the right thing, Lord. Thank you for your mercy. I pray for this country, this state, this parents, this community. I pray for our president, our government. I pray for this leader and political reform. Jesus, for your mercy. We have liberty for the God. I pray for the poor. I pray for the office, 1,000, Father. I pray for the less fortunate. Please, Father. Father, everything is there to let you. Mom, to your honor, praise, and glory.
Please face the flag. I pledge
allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Dr. King. We call the roll.
Mr. Michael Cheatham.
Here.
Mr. Kyle Flanagan.
Here.
Mr. Chris Hall.
Here.
Mr. Ronald Johnson.
Here.
Mr. Jason McCray.
Here.
Mr. Keith Mills is absent. Mr. Richard Oliver.
Here.
Dr. Chrissy O'Quinn. Here. President Louis Kent.
Here. Dr. King, thank you. The motion to approve the agenda, please.
Mr. President, we have one hand on waste program.
Okay, with one addition, waste. The other new business. The motion.
Second.
Any discussion? Question from the audience? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. First on the agenda, old business, adopt the minutes from the June 5th, 2023 regular meeting. Read by the random.
Mr. President, I understand the discrepancy, I move that we accept. Second.
What about Mr. McCray, second by Mr. Johnson? Any discussion? Question from the audience? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Consider the agenda request variance to live in RV at 14900 Place Road. Down the remainder of house there. Rest, DJ, Roll, Lamb.
What's with that name?
Mr. Brett came in at 5, he thought our meeting was at 5, Felicia and I spoke with him. I told him that I didn't think he needed to stay around for an hour to wait for our meeting, this was a normal thing, and what he was requested is the house is almost finished, so he only wanted a 90-day term, and I'll make that motion.
Any discussion? Question from the audience? All in favor? And opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, discuss ban on sale of crates.
Good evening. Before I start, I just want to mention that I spoke to State Senator Caleb Kleinpeter this morning, and he said that someone had put forth a bill to stop parishes like ours from banning kratom, but it was shot down in the legislature. So the Kratom Association has put out a very large amount of money to try and fight small parishes, because they figure small parishes are not gonna have the money to fight it. But they put forth a lot of money to stop parishes like ours from the actual sale of the kratom. So I'm back, yes.
The last time you came, we said we were gonna wait on the state.
Right, so
What
the
did
bill
they
did,
do?
it didn't pass. It passed the legislature, but it did not pass the House. I know it passed the House, but the state Senate shot it down.
And they were trying to make it illegal from the state level.
From the House level, they were trying to make it illegal, yes. So it passed there, but the Senate shot it down.
Okay, so what we wanna do is ban it parish-wide.
Correct.
Okay,
Correct.
I'm caught up.
Well, we're gonna myself for a lawsuit, you gonna sue us, you ready?
I'm sorry, say that again?
You gonna sue us, you ready? Cause yes.
I mean, right now, there are two parishes, and St. Tammany is recommending that they ban it as well. So there are only two parishes in the state that have currently banned it. But there are a number of parishes, and I know St. Tammany is one of them that's working on banning it as well.
So what's the pleasure of Jeremy?
I make a motion that we ban it. That's what we said we would do.
I said,
We're hoping the state would do it, but,
Exactly.
and I know Mr. Senator Klein wrote the bill,
Correct.
and I thought it had gone through.
I did it.
You decided that.
Everything was said and shut down.
Right.
So we'll do what we can in our own.
Any discussion, question from the audience? All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
So when will this go into effect?
It just did.
So
So
what happens beyond
we
this
need
point?
to find out, our office needs to know who currently sells it inside of our parish.
I've got all that
And
information.
if you have that list, then we can send a letterhead with possibly a copy of the minutes. So let me ask this question, this is going to be for Mr. Lewis. The jury made a motion and voted on making this illegal. Does that need to be an ordinance?
You gonna have to-
Or would it just be
You have to be on.
the vote on the jury?
So you all did already have a public hearing, and at the public hearing at the meeting, you tabled it, so there was already a public hearing. Now, I do not have on this on the agenda as an action item, because I didn't know if you all were ready to vote on it again. If Ms. Rhonda was just bringing back information, I don't know if y'all want to add it to vote on, to go ahead and.
I think as long as it's on the agenda, it doesn't matter. As long as it's on the agenda, we can action either way as long as it's on.
So there's an ordinance that was already presented to you all, if you all just want to,
So what we need to do
Motion
is we
to
need
adopt the ordinance.
to adopt.
Make a
the ordinance.
motion to adopt the ordinance.
Second.
Mr. Michelle?
Because you tabled it last time, with passing the ban tonight, it basically is a resolution by the jury. It's in effect till your new term, in other words, till this jury is done. It's law up to then, so you have plenty of time to, don't shortcut that public hearing, schedule another one for that thing.
But it became law just now.
It became law as a resolution, but to get your ordinance through and not have somebody go again, fight you with it next time, set another public hearing.
So is this
It's
like-
got 6 months to do it.
Do we need to take that ordinance and maybe send it to planning and zoning, or maybe send it to Joshua and those guys, let them look at it to make sure it's bulletproof?
So, I mean, I think you all maybe need to decide if you want to do an ordinance or a resolution.
It's right there.
And you're right, we do have to the new jury.
So we need to have another public hearing?
Have another public hearing, send it to the legal advisor, and let him take a look at it, make any changes to the proposed ordinance,
Okay.
and then set a public hearing when he's through with it, and just as long as it's an ordinance by December.
Yep. Cause I'm gonna tell you, some of those businesses, some of those.
They're coming after.
They gonna fight, and they gonna file lawsuits, and this, but we gotta make sure we got this right.
Yeah, it's gotta be ironclad, but you take that list of everybody that sells it inside the parish, we send them a letter, copy of a letterhead that it is now law, this is forbidden to be sold in this parish. And that's it.
And you may want to get involved with sheriff's department and
Yeah.
different police departments and all of that.
change it in any way.
Might have to make some amendments to it.
Now, like you said, we need to send it to Sam and
And
make,
then
just make
once
sure
I
it's on.
get that on, get it back to you all.
Let's get
I
it
would say
blessed.
let me, give me should do all
Okay.
that. Well, and the reason I say that because the head of our office, because if somebody calls us and is rah, 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 we're not trying to track you down or somebody else, we can call
So
you.
do you want to set a public hearing
Yeah, set up a case.
or put it on?
I wouldn't do that until you send the ordinance and got it fine tuned and then set another one, because like JR said, once we vote, it's law. Now, the ordinance, you just wanna make sure it's ironclad.
So this is just a discussion, like.
No, this is, we just
So we
voted
need to
on
hold it
it.
fast.
We voted. What he's saying is right
There
now,
is no resolution.
You don't have to have a resolution.
But I have it,
once
not right
the,
yet, you know.
once the jury votes, it is law. But you have to have an ordinance. But that ordinance is not needed until January.
But what
So
she's
because we
saying
voted-
is that she needs a resolution.
Exactly. I understand exactly what you're saying. You can type one up real quick and have a little sign. Therefore, the jury voted on this day, and we resolved that this ain't gonna happen no more. Signed by Mr. King.
You understand?
Yeah, I understand it. I understand y'all want the resolution, but I don't understand how you're banning it by resolution, but then you're waiting to do the ordinance.
The ordinance has to be in, okay, so
Why not
this,
just do the ordinance now if you're banning it?
I see what you're saying. I see what you're saying. But the ordinance is not 100% needed because this law won't change until this jury changes. Once this jury changes, then what we just voted on without an ordinance changes. At that point, you have to have an ordinance. So what he's saying is you've got till January before this jury changes. So so once the ordinance is finished, we'll adopt it, and then at that point, it's an ordinance. It's not this jury vote. So this jury can only do off of a vote for its term. And then once we leave, if it's not backed by an ordinance, it was nothing more than a vote that was a previous jury.
Yeah, that's why I was asking why not just
That's,
do the ordinance.
I get it, but we have time. We have 6
That's
months,
6
we don't
months.
have to jump through these.
Yes, it's.
Please, I'm thinking you got your place.
Okay, so.
No, I think we already have an
But
ordinance in place
I'm
that she
asking-
did, and Sam already saw
Right,
it.
I agree
So we
with
could
Alicia,
do
why
it.
not do the ordinance? Why do now?
We will.
So.
All we have to do is, once it goes to Sam and is fine tuned, comes back to us, all we have to do at that point is adopt it.
Okay.
Once it's adopted,
It becomes-
the law was, as soon as you got unanimous vote, that's the law as of right now.
Okay.
That's your law inside the state. Once Sam looks at that ordinances and says, this is good, or change this, or do this, or whatever, then it's presented back to us, and it could be as fast as next week,
Okay.
that next meeting, and we can adopt that ordinance. But as of tonight, it is illegal to sell.
Credit under this.
Gotcha.
You don't want to ban it without talking to Sam.
Don't want to.
Okay.
Is there any fines attached to this?
We can put them in the ordinance for.
No, as of now.
As of now, so
Yeah.
what you're doing, you ask him not to sell.
In the ordinance that he did, there were fines. I don't remember what they were.
If it's a resolution, not an ordinance. Can we enforce a resolution instead of ordinance?
Once the jury votes, it is then law, and I think you can, yes, you
Okay.
very can enforce that.
It's external assurance. Is it okay?
And then once the ordinance is done, we can adopt as early as next meeting.
Okay, the penalties, whoever violates the provisions of this ordinance shall be fined not more than $500 or imprisoned for not more than 6 months, or both. Whoever violates the provisions of this ordinance for a third time shall be fined no more than $1,500 or imprisoned for not more than 6 months, or both. In addition, if the third time or more offender is a vendor, seller, or retailer licensed to do business in the parish of East Feliciana, the same shall forfeit and/or have all business licenses revoked by the parish of East Feliciana.
Did Sam take that ordinance on?
He did, he created it.
Yeah.
Someone
Oh,
in his
well, he
office,
created it.
someone in his office created it. Yes.
So we should be voting on it next time and saying this is it.
At our next meeting, we
It
should.
shouldn't be nothing but an upcheck for him, and it just went through the whole time.
Yeah, that's, and you're absolutely right, we should have just adopted that tonight, I didn't know Sam did.
Yeah.
So just let it go, make sure it's cool, come back at the next meeting, we'll adopt that, but as of today, it's on.
And that way it can go on the agenda,
Next agenda.
be out. So you all not gonna worry about having another public hearing,
I will.
just go ahead and vote on it.
I will,
I have it public hearing. That's on y'all.
Did we table it, or did we say
We did
the
table it.
state was gonna do
We
it?
tabled, we
Until
tabled.
you hear
Table
back
it.
from the state, and then.
but we did have a public hearing on it.
Yeah.
We had the public hearing, and
And we
then when
did.
I presented it for the ban is when
We
State
said
Senator
let's wait.
Klein Peter said, let's wait until the session starts, because I'm gonna put forth a bill to ban it, statewide.
And that's the
You
reason why
did
you
have
need to have,
people
that's why you do need to have
present.
another public hearing.
Did
It's
you-
on that very fact.
Let's come on.
You did have people that were present that were not banned, so,
Craig did?
yes.
There was a
You was here.
representative here that night from the Cradle Association.
Yeah, I remember him.
So let's get another public hearing at the next meeting.
I agree with that. I would, just to make sure everything's done right.
5 days,
Sound good.
5 days.
You gonna be
Can't do
here?
it at the next meeting.
No, we can't.
That way if it gets real heated,
No,
you can back.
no, wait till it, no, wait till it, second.
The second meeting is on July 5/30.
Okay, thank you, Ms. Turner. Anything else?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay, move on. Adopted Louisiana compliance questionnaire. You have it on the floor. Motion from Mr. Oliver,
Yeah.
from Mr. McCray. Any discussion? Question from the audience. You all in favor? Any opposed? Motion carries. Next on the agenda, raise pro, Mr. McCray.
Okay, over the last month or so, we've been getting the influx of calls again and complaints. I'm seeing some things that's, just unbelievable. And I have people now sending me pictures, backed up, verified. They're not picking up people garbage for 2 and 3 weeks at a time. You got some residents that live back in like little subdivisions and they got a bins put up that all of them, it might be 2 brothers and sisters living side by side, all of them put their garbage in the tank. They'll pick up 3 or 4 of the bags and leave the rest of them. And then the neighbors right next door, they don't pick up their garbage at all. I had one old lady call me this. They didn't pick her garbage up again Friday. And they told her to don't put the garbage in the bin, sit it outside the road. Well, we all know what happens when you sit the garbage outside the road. The animals, dogs, coons and stuff come and tear it all up. Those people 75, 80 years old, they can't get out there and pick up their garbage and stuff. And they even wrote a note and left a note for the residents. And I just feel like we paying for a service that we're not getting. Waste Pro has been here 2 or 3 times telling us how they're gonna make it better and what they're gonna do better, and I'm not seeing better. And we need to do something about this because this is beginning to be a burden, and it's just too much on our people in Paris. We shouldn't have to be going through this. I think these people have been on this contract now for more than a year and a half. I think they came here in 21, and you should have it down pat by now. You know, I can accept the excuses when the first 6 months or whatever, even though they promised us before they took the contract, they were gonna put riders out, put them in, they were gonna do where all their pickups were, all that was a lie. So as a juror, I think we need to come together, we need to make a decision, we need to do something because this is putting a strain on our parish. And we're getting entirely too many complaints.
Then it comes up, then you got different, you got buzzers can hook up, buzzers.
Well, mine wasn't picked up, in part of my route was a day late,
that they picked up on my road, but over the next road by me, on Dawson or whatever, they didn't pick those people garbage up today. So I know when I get home tonight, that phone will be ringing off the hook again.
Yes, they did tell us that they would finish Mr. Oliver's, most of them, I
Right,
think,
she
was
was-
Mr. Oliver's route because it was late, and I just got an email at 5:45 that they didn't finish his entire route, so now it's throwing off.
I think what we need to do is take a look at what we're paying these people. And I don't know if the rest of the jurors know it or not, somewhere here in the near future, they're getting another increase.
Yeah.
They up for another 4% increase. How are you gonna justify paying people all this money and you're not getting your service?
They
No
charge,
sense.
they charge us for everything.
Everything.
I mean, everything. I mean, everything they pay.
We having some problems with the dumpsters and stuff. I'm not gonna go into all that tonight, but we gotta get all that taken care of. We getting charged for things that we shouldn't be getting charged for.
We make a motion call them for a meeting again, or whatever.
Yeah.
Couldn't we call in Mr. Murphy, Mr. Jesse Murphy, that's over the Baton Rouge office, and ask him to come up here and sit down with us as jurors?
Julian, we need to, that's a motion.
Yes, I'll make that motion, and we need to have a discussion with,
someone higher up.
And I'm.
And Miss Jolene.
Yeah, Mr. Julian, we gotta
She's
get,
been up here, what, 2-3 times?
she comes.
And she's welcome to attend as well, but I think we need to go a little bit further. And he's over the Baton Rouge
We
office.
pay for stuff we not get, I promise you. It's not cheap, I promise you.
Well, that's the case, I mean,
You need to go look at
don't,
the solid waste account, you're gonna see why.
I don't doubt that we should sit down and have a meeting with them. I'm not arguing that fact at all, that should be the first move. But in the meantime, I would send our contract over to Sam and let him take a look at it and see if we're not getting the services we need.
We're not getting it.
Because my first question is this, if we're not getting, a house hadn't been picked up in 3 weeks, are we still paying them for numbers of households that are not?
Yes, we are.
Yes, we
So
are.
they're charging
It's
us,
already in effect.
they're already charging us for households that they're not picking
Picking
up,
up.
instead of getting us a reduced rate on people that hadn't been picked up in 3 weeks. So, in a roundabout way, that's kind of stealing. So, I agree with having a meeting with him, but I would have Sam take a look at our contract and see what if the meeting don't turn out the way it should be for our constituents, then we already have motion in progress, working on that to see that happens.
We're responsible for our service, paying for something like this.
If you all would allow me to, because I did send the, contract to Sam today, after there was discussion about it Thursday. I did send it, put it on his radar to let him know that it had came up in conversation. So he did send me an email back, and he told me a couple of things that need to be done. So I'll just pass all of the information that returns to him in an email. And, I know that written notification would have to be, given to them in 30 days, but you all have to also think of someone else that would be able to do the garbage route. So, I'll work on it, continue to work on it, Sam, and reach out to Mr. Murphy to see about getting a meeting schedule, and we can, see if we can have a,
What do we
kind of
pay
like
him,
the grants.
what do we pay him a month, 121?
Going there, cause we pay for it.
Because there's roll off.
Roll off, we pay for it.
I'm just talking just trash pickup.
Oh, 121.
It's a 121 just for the trash.
Just for that.
So we can put it in a form of motion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
All in favor? Motion carries. Make the move on.
Still 1.5 million a year.
Yeah, I think it's 1.5. Okay, request permission to start a garden at a voting warehouse in Yolanda Town. Ms. Allen,
Just to give you some sort of background information, we've got 2 mentorship programs for youth in the parish. The female one is Obtaining Mature Girls, and the male one is Better Men Today. And they talked to us about doing a garden. So I'm here to ask the police jury if they would allow us to use the green space between the water department and the warehouse that housed the or the green space to the left of the warehouse as a garden area.
Discuss it with Mr. Allen, what's your recommendation?
I'm recommending to do it, I'll make the motion.
Second.
And whatever space they see
Yeah,
fit.
whatever, I mean, gotta leave.
How big is it?
We haven't figured out the logistics yet, but what we do know is we're gonna allow them to sell their produce, at market day and put it in an account that we set up for them.
Do the jurors get to come in?
We talked about, we talked about a raise one, we talked about different things. We're waiting to meet with the gentleman, and I can't remember his name off the top of my head, but we're waiting to meet with him, who I understand is like, the best person to talk to. Another organization that we partnered with, Blessed by Grace, it's her dad who used to work with Idlewild, and he did gardens over there. So he's gonna be working with us. So once I got the space, I was gonna bring him over and have him tell us what he thinks would work best.
You think so?
Or if we need to, yeah.
Yeah, if he's
It's gonna be gone. Well, that's true, we didn't think about it.
Okay, you got your space, Mr. Allen. I want one of those rules.
Yeah. Watermelon.
We have a motion, I'm sorry, I'm not even sure about.
And if y'all see any
We
kicking,
have a motion.
and,
But he made the motion, Mr. Chief Co-Chief, second. All in favor? And opposed? Motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Turner. Next, we approve the lower speed limit on Highland Meadows Drive. We have a public hearing. Recommend that we reduce it to 15 miles per hour on the south. Mr. Turner.
I'll make that motion.
second.
Second, Mr. Howard. Any discussion? Question for the audience. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried. Okay, what's else? Committee report, staff, I don't have anything different. Personnel committee, Coach Q, finance chair, Mr. Christopher Hall.
First thing, I need to make a motion to approve monthly invoices.
Second.
Any discussion? Question from the audience, not in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
Second thing is, this is under my committee, but we had an executive committee last week, and, we discussed the treasurer's position, and, I'd like to make a motion to outsource the treasurer's position to
Say that again?
outsource treasurer position and duties. Put bid out to get a firm, a CPA to do it. And that's a motion.
Second.
Any more certain discussion? Question from the audience. All in favor? Any opposed? Motion carried.
We're gonna advertise that position, and, it may be an outsource, it may be a local, it may be in office, but we're gonna advertise it.
Anything else, Mr. Hall?
That's it.
Move on, public works and equipment, Mr. Jason McCray.
I don't have anything, Mr. President. Just let the jurors know you look in your book, and in the back, they got, the bid that we got for the overlay. So, that's in your book.
Any discussion on that?
You got questions?
The numbers are a little.
It was the lowest one.
Well,
We suggest for 30 days, we might go up.
yeah, but I mean, are we gonna act on that, or we just gonna do that?
Right now, one of the money appropriated for the legal ability,
That's what I'm thinking, where we're gonna be at, so I mean,
radio.
Well, we got some more money that's coming. That's, we'd already talked about the offer money. So that's gonna bring us up to the three threshold.
Well, we can't act until we get the money out of here.
yeah, I mean, that's my point,
that's why it's not on the agenda.
What's
because
that?
Yeah.
We're kind of,
What,
yeah. Hard to make an exception when it's much higher than what you got.
okay, let's move on. Building property, Mr. Richard Allen.
I had something I'd like to bring up.
Yes, sir.
I got a call yesterday from, Kenny Sanchez. They had something in the park, last week, the week before last, and one of the doors, the men's restroom was left open, and that storm came up, and it took that door and locked it where they can't fix the door, so he asked me to see if I could get some funds to get another door, to get some men back. In the men's park.
In the budget, there was money approved for each part. I don't know how much it is, but we pay as a part of it.
That shouldn't be no problem.
Anything else?
I just want to bring.
Yeah, I'm.
It's on the administrative matter.
A public hearing on the sale of the property at 12320 St. Helena Street is scheduled for Monday, July 3rd at 5:30. I did reach out to Capital Area Recycling Council. At the last meeting, there was a public comment about the recycling, electronic recycling day that you all usually have annually. The event would be held on a Saturday, but the earliest they can do it would be August or September. There's a $500 fee, and I can move on with it unless one of you want me to hold off on it.
We have a lot of tons just thrown outside the road.
I got a question about that too. Our truck is not allowed to pick up
No, no.
television.
No.
So what are you supposed to do with, you got the people got these old low model TVs, the regular boxes of these, what are they
They go
supposed
to
to
the road
do?
though.
Take them to the,
What the?
that's one.
That's why they don't
Well,
store
then,
inside the road.
Why they dump them on the roof?
Come on, come on, come on.
That place, the recycle place exactly will take a lot of stuff, but what they won't take, just go to Devil's Swamp, they charge you $5 and you done.
Yeah, 'cause they got a couple of them on Dawson Road.
Not all of them down the road.
Yeah, TVs, microwaves,
Use
they
time.
actually check you with a Geiger counter at the recycle, that way they know if you got microwaves in there and stuff.
They got used tires everywhere.
Well, I would like to say, like Jason was talking about, trash. You know, a lot of times, stuff gets put out in front of all the person's home. And they may not get taken to the, you know, they may not even have a grandchild, may not, you know. So, we need to think about, you know, we collected money for stuff that we come up with some kind of way maybe to get some of that stuff. And when you have that recycled, you throw it over in there. You know, I mean, you gotta look at what we get, you know, we get paid to do it, so, we don't think about it.
Ms. Harris, I spoke with Mr. Scott Yarborough with the solar project. He mentioned that they were still interested in trying to help set the day up for something like this. So it might be worth just reaching out to him and seeing if they would sponsor it. You could coordinate your times, and maybe they would pay the cost.
$500.
Yes, and that we, as a parish, would have to put that bill. If we could, like those stars align, maybe that would help us.
That would be great, because, I think Feliciana used to do it, and like I said, they are no more. I did look on their website to see how we can get it back in the parish, but we would first have to find some people that are committed to being on that board. So that's why it's $500 fee, because they usually put it or have a grant or whatever, but I'll definitely reach out to them. and see if they can.
Okay, anything else for the board?
Mr. President.
Yes, sir.
I have a question, little GPW in McManus, behind the cement plant, where they came and cleaned that dump, and I mean, did an excellent job. I rode through there the other day, It's been put up?
We can't put it for you to see it.
Yeah.
It's been put up, we only saw one person on there, but he wasn't dumping
He
at that
wasn't
time.
dumping?
No.
Somebody put something back out there.
You got a look on his face like he was doing something, but you don't wanna tell.
No.
You know, watching, trying to get a license plate, I don't want to.
No, he was just stopping at that time because they was working on a truck on the adjacent property. But, so far, we haven't caught anybody, I'm gonna have to check it again to see what we
I
got.
just want to bring the
Not
jury's
sure.
attention.
But we got something out there.
Behind all the concrete plant.
Yeah.
And if there's any, others that you all see in your district that you need us to put out?
Somebody got to stay, got to catch somebody that can
I'm telling you right now, and it ain't just in one district, it's
all over.
This is
See,
ridiculous.
we
Let me
tried,
ask
we
y'all a
tried this a couple of years back,
And nobody wanted to
and
go
the
up.
camera caught some people that it wasn't supposed to catch. And that's when it disappeared. Because I'm gonna tell you, I mean, you can't discriminate.
That's right.
You got to find them and make an example out of them. That's all
Nobody's
we're
supposed to
gonna
know.
stop.
Nobody's supposed to know.
That's right. I know what happened. I'm
Who
telling
got-
you.
who got-
I ain't no going on.
I want to know you.
Yeah, I wanna know.
I ain't heard this.
Why not? Why not? I want to know. I want to know.
They have no money.
I told you the cameras don't discriminate. They catch whatever they see.
Okay. Anything else on this side? Treasury report? You don't have to take this. Okay, Homeland Security, Mr. Darrell Buell.
And just a couple things on here. We had a severe weather storm come through Thursday, and I won't say whose district it was kinda
We
in.
know that already.
But yeah, it did a lot of damage out there in that area. Nobody was injured, nobody was killed. And we were fortunate, the ones that could've was on working night shifts, so they were gone. The Baker's Trailer Park had a lot of trees, and they were big trees up in there come down and crushed some mobile homes in there. And fortunately, they were on nights, so they didn't find out till they got back home the next morning that they didn't have a place no more. But, we had a bunch of trailers and all that had roofs and all damaged. One was taken off and it blew it out across the field. Trampolines were wrapped around trees. I mean, there was a lot of damage. One place was for sale, it lost its roof. So what we think it was probably a F0 tornado, which is still a tornado, but it's the weakest one you can get. But you can see a line where it come up pretty much down US 61 and did a lot of damage on it.
It wasn't very severe, I mean, it's coming by the over.
Yeah. Yep. I got an alert from the National Weather Service saying, hey, expect, bad stuff out there, hey, coming through Mississippi and the northwestern part of the parish, and that's exactly where it runs, the northwestern
I
part of
must,
the
I
parish.
must, I must be doing something wrong, cause everything at the line, everything started to miss the
Yeah.
line, nobody stopped.
Well, we're just fortunate the way the weather patterns are right now. It's just barely hitting the edge of us.
Yeah, we missed a lot of.
I mean, we've been fortunate because a lot
Our
of,
neighbors in Mississippi.
They catching it.
oh yeah, Mississippi, they up there around North Louisiana, they actually declared that a disaster, state disaster area up there. They had so much damage and all done. But so far, we were pretty fortunate. People didn't get their power back. That happened Saturday evening, and I know some of them got it back at 2:30 in the morning, and some of them didn't get it back till late that evening. Because they had to kill power. We had one lady that got trapped in her trailer because the power lines were laying on it. We contacted Demco, and Demco said, we don't have a clue when we can get out here to you. So I got over there and checked it, and all, found out, hey, the power was dead. Hey, we went and got the lady out, went back in, got all our medicine and supplies, purse and all that. She went and stayed with her daughter in Zachary. But 964, you couldn't even travel down it, it was so much damage. But, yeah, the fire department's got out there, we talked some houses and all of them did. Some of them, the people said it ain't worse because nothing's left. But we put some tarps and all.
Saturday?
That was Saturday evening, I guess, what, about 3:30,
Exactly, 3 o'clock.
3 o'clock? It hit.
That's when I went to find my youngin' on the creek.
Yep, that's when it was all going on.
They was down riding Thompson Creek.
Oh, wow. It
And
was
I
right
couldn't
there
get
in
in
the
touch
middle
with
of
them
it.
in the phone, and
Yeah.
by the time I got there, they were
Yeah.
all under the bridge.
Yeah.
It was hell, I'm like, I don't know.
Oh, it was. They were showing some in North Louisiana and Mississippi that was 4-inch hail that was hit. 4-inch hail hurts.
I think that just knocked you smooth out.
Well, one was killed up in Oklahoma with 5-inch hail. They hit her in the head and they caused.
How fast is that stuff coming down?
66 miles per second. I mean, 66 feet per second, which is about what you can, almost the speed of a baseball when you throw it. So that's moving pretty good. And what it is, say if you're not familiar with why the hail gets that big, it's the uplift. Water will come down, it'll freeze, it'll push it back up. As it gets heavy, it'll drop back down, but it got enough uplift that it keep lifting it up, and you take up moisture, go back up and freeze, drop back down, take up moisture, go back up and freeze. That's what just keeps making it grow so big, is the moisture content.
That's the other.
Oh, yeah. Yep. But, yeah, the other thing is, we just found out we got our grant approved. They asked us, hey, if y'all spend any of this money, I said, we hadn't got approval yet. She said, I forgot to send y'all the email. We have been asking every month. She was supposed to send the email March 5th. And we just finally got it March 5th. We have been asking, they're like, well, y'all need to hurry up and spend it. We're like,
You got the proof system?
we've been waiting on it. That's one thing we've been waiting on. Hey, we have asked and asked. She went, I'm sorry. It's been a bad time with Go Self right now.
Always the system we got.
Right. So it's $26,561.09 on it, and it's for 3 different items: communication, medical bags. For the law enforcement, it'd be 10 bags. They got the tourniquets and all in it. That way, all the deputies carry one tourniquet. Problem is, you get somebody shot in 2 legs, okay, which one you gonna save? You only gonna save
Do
one.
y'all have, do our deputies have those shots that they use?
Narcan, I tried to get them through Homeland Security, and they don't do it.
Because unfortunately, I mean, none of us wanna.
EMS care, they care.
EMS has it, because they can charge the person for it. We carry some with our fire department, they're $125 a shot. A box of 2 is $125. And we've used, I think since, September last year to now, we've used almost 30 doses of it
In our parish.
in our parish. That's what our fire department, that's not the whole parish. That's pretty much our side.
That's your fire department.
Yeah, that's not including Clinton and all too.
I mean, none of us wanna hear that drugs are in our
Well, they're
home
here.
parish, but they're here.
Well, the problem is Narcan only works on opioids. Hey, fentanyl, it don't work on them. Hey, Creighton, it don't work on them. So a lot of this stuff, we
So
hit them with,
how do you know?
you don't.
Give it to them anyway.
You hit them with it, hope it works. Now, it's so
But it
strong.
won't hurt them if they're
No,
on something.
it won't hurt. That's why sometimes we're like, okay, they're on something else. We do CPR, 45 minutes. If we don't get them back, they die.
Mr. Broussard?
No, they call
Yeah,
Oh,
we call Joe, or if my wife's there, she goes on work it while we're on.
them. That's right.
So far, we've had one family, we hit with the son twice. We did the other one 3 times. The one we did 3 times, we got there, we only had 1 dose left. We took the one that was still breathing a little bit, we got him back. The other one died, because we couldn't get him back.
So, let me ask a question.
Yeah.
You can't get it through Homeland,
Nope.
and you only have so many doses through the fire departments.
Yeah. Right now, I think we got 3 boxes left. Two doses. Right now, if you get somebody with Narcan, it takes 2 doses. You will not get them all the way back on the first dose, so it's
Because,
rare.
like you said, the cameras don't discriminate, neither do drugs.
Drug doctor.
Right.
And, I mean, some of these people that y'all, that they're seeing are young kids that's never done this
Yeah.
before, and they will monkey see, monkey do. Oh, try this, it ain't gonna hurt you, and they say, you know,
And you got
a
some
kid
that will
will-
repeat.
Right, we get repeats. We've had so many, we've done a bunch of people 3 times already. A lot of times right now, we pull up, we don't know what drug they're on, we hit them with the Narcan, it don't work. We know it's not.
So I know in a lot of parishes, police officers pack it as well.
Yeah. We tried to get some for the sheriff's office through Homeland Security, and we wasn't. That's it. On one of these grants, but we wanted to get it for the fire departments and all of it.
I wonder if it had they tried themselves. The fire department is.
Sheriff.
Yeah, and that may be a conversation we can have, Mr. Jeff, because that would be something, because the deputies, no doubt about it, are gonna, typically, they're the first guys on the scene.
Yeah.
And I know time is of the essence with that stuff.
Well, that's why on this grant here, we got 10 medical bags right now. On this one, we put some on another grant too, that we're waiting to hear back from on it. Because this is the 2020 grant, we put this on. So we got them that right there. That way, how many shootings we've been in? Hey, we come up with a tourniquet, put on.
Grant out there, that's a process.
Yeah.
Grant, they spend the money.
Yep. And Chris's command trailer is the other thing. We get the generators and all for that, so when we're out there on the scene, we can crank up an air conditioner to have it where you can cool down. Or if we have a mass casualty, we can get out there, let people go in there and cool down. So it's a bunch of functions and all we do on that. And
Whose trailer is that?
Chris, that's what I
Chris.
thought he said. I didn't
Chris,
know
no,
that.
I messed with him the other
I
day.
thought that's what he said.
Yep, because he seen it out there by his house when we had the manhunt. We brought it out, we used it, they were happy to have that trailer out there.
What is that stuff called? Narcan.
Narcan. Naloxone is what his official name of it is. Everybody calls it short Narcan. But right now, on this side of the parish, if we get a call, Fred and Janelle with Clinton Fire Department, and they're with us, and we respond. If we hear of an overdose, we're coming, whether it's alcohol or not, because we have it on us.
The other thing, the Attorney General has a big thing going on for opioids, the battle against opioids. Might be able to go through his office, see about getting some funds. Since he's running for governor, he's a lot more pliable now than usual. And, or DHH might be a source for Narcan, since it is a drug, and they might be able to have some program through the drug council.
The sheriff's office is trying to get some for their guys right now, because there's a big push nationwide through the law enforcement agencies to get Narcan for law enforcement, but just like, you know, they're gonna beat everybody here.
It says right here, that there's a grant through the U.S. Department of Justice to get
Yeah.
3,000 Narcan kits. St. Tammany just got it,
Mhm.
and it is a grant out there. to
Yeah,
get it.
3,000 units nationwide.
And it says St. Tammany just secured
Yeah.
3,000.
Yep. And most of those are matching grants.
What's the price of a ride, honestly?
Yeah, it's
And-
125.
Hey, and it's only good for 2 years. We hadn't had that problem, but we've been burning through them left and right. We buy them up here at Curry Farms. That's where we get all ours. And last one, we have a Region 2 grant for East and West Feliciana, East and West Baton Rouge, Iberia, Point Capee, and Ascension. That is what we call Region 2 for Louisiana from GOSEP. The state has given us $275,000 to use for different items that we need to respond with. And we had a preliminary meeting, we got another one coming up. One of the things is we could buy water, tarps, and stuff like that with it. But everybody needs, Ascension said they need pumps, probably more than anything down there. We don't really have to use a pump here because we don't have that issue with the flood. The other ones are all right there, so we all kind of come to the conclusion, everybody has a different need than what the other ones have. So, some of the stuff you can use with portable pumps, generators, bulk water, urban search and rescue, radios, exercises, doing mass care for medical, for if you have a tornado strike like that, equipment, medical supplies, and stuff like that. And what they're looking at right there, they split that money up and let each one of the groups have that to be able to stock their stuff they need. And we would be getting like $39,285.71. We'd be real close to $40,000 we get here. And some of the stuff we were kind of discussing with the other one is getting a cargo trailer, keeping a lot of that stuff pre-staged. If we get a call, we hook up to the trailer and go. We have that already with the search team, already the community emergency response team. We have 2 fire departments with that distributed out already.
What about the
AEDs, yeah. I got a grant working on getting some more of those, but one of the problems we found out, we tried to get an AED superstore to find out, hey, where's the AEDs that we ordered? We got approval to get them. They dropped the ball. The girl who was doing it quit. She just wiped her account out, so they didn't know. I've been sending them emails, their customer support. They've been sending it to her, and she's not there anymore. So they've been going to space. So they get back with me tomorrow on that to find out, okay, here's what we got, because school's starting back, and we gotta get these AEDs back going.
Is that what they're?
No, there's none of them here.
You want to check it?
Oh, I know. I already checked them. I checked
Does
every.
it have manuals on them, where you can put it in manual?
No, these are all semi-automatic, where the automatic
So
ones.
if you don't have an AFib going on, it won't even shock.
No. And it'll actually tell you shock advise, you clear everybody away, push the button. We don't want an automatic, because if you're not clear and you shock, you gonna get the shock. Been there before. Little new paramedic hit that button and we went all the way off the patient from doing CPR, and yes, it hurts. So we got the semi-automatic, because Slaughter Elementary don't have one, the Carter Court's office didn't have one. We finally found the one at the courthouse. We spent about an hour and a half in there going through trying to locate it, and we found it under 4 boxes stacked about this high on top of it. None of them worked.
How about the moving of the records there, how's that going?
On the records over there, Keith's supposed to finish up with the last shelf. We added one more shelf in there for them, because there's 165 boxes going in there. On top where they wanted to put the stuff, they decided they're gonna put some lightweight stuff up there so they don't have to go. We got a ladder we putting in there, a roll around ladder, so they can climb up there and pull the boxes off without falling.
The shelf
Gonna start moving
it looks
stuff.
very good. I looked at it the other day. when I was-
Thursday.
It looks really good.
Yeah,
They're gonna
very
start
heavy shelves, they're not gonna collapse.
Mr. Hill?
He finished the shelves today, and they're supposed to move the boxes Thursday.
Thursday or?
Thursday.
Okay.
And that'll put us out of the store about.
2,303 months?
Yeah, it'd be, yeah. So,
It looks really nice over there, really good.
yeah,
It's got to be a secure place, we can't ever keep it.
yeah. But it's heavy, we got them in there to show us where they wanna put their freestanding cabinets on the floor and all right there, and they got other ones they're gonna put in the middle, so they can put everything they have in that room.
Mr. Judge said,
And the judge was happy about it.
anything else, Mr. Buell?
No,
Thank you, Mr.
that's it.
Buell.
2 years ago.
Okay. Planning and zoning, Mr. Buell.
We have a meeting next Tuesday. We're vetting the RV ordinance and public hearing prior to the meeting. We'll make changes to it, smooth it up, and send the recommendation up to the jury. The RV ordinance, which the engineers took a cut. Mr. Richards supplied West Feliciana's version. We married up the two, and it's up. If y'all would like to peruse it as its current form, or do you want to wait till after planning and zoning does its changes?
Will it y'all vet it first? Y'all been vetted relatively.
Oh, well, I was gonna say, as soon as we get it done and smooth, I'll send it out before you set your public hearing.
Okay, good.
So you have additional time to take a look at it.
Well, would that be through email we'll receive that?
I can send it through email to everybody. That way it's soft, you get it soft, you can read it on your phone.
I'd like a digital copy if at all possible.
Oh, I will, that's preferred method. I don't wanna waste paper.
Thank you.
Anything else, Mr. Shaw?
I don't plan on zoning, no.
Chamber of Commerce, Mrs. Harris.
Don't have anything, the chamber is about to start a new, term in January, what's the next one?
July.
In July, so we both know, officers, some terms expire, new board members.
Any questions, sir? Public comment, resolution.
Most of you probably saw the Attorney General's story with the new opinion on cremation certificates.
Yes.
It directly affected the coroner's office. We stopped as of June 5th when the opinion came out. All cremations are done at no cost to people now. The author of the request of the opinion, in other words, we stopped getting checks from the funeral homes. So they won't be passing that fee on to the residents and family members.
What about the ones that paid?
The ones that have already paid from January, we know exactly who got submitted payments since January. We track all that anyway. If they requested, and this is from the person that requested the opinion, he said if the family member requested back, they should get it back. If the funeral home requested, the question is, are you giving it back to the family or putting it in your profit margin? Profit margin doesn't warrant refunding. Giving it back to the family does. He said, do it on a case-by-case basis when they come in, if they come in. Now, everything the 3 years prior, when it didn't go into the coroner's account, we're done. That's a criminal matter there. We're out of that business. That's pretty much it for the coroner side, except for what we were talking about earlier on overdoses. We do about 15 a year in this parish. Of overdose.
That's deaths.
Yes, that's meth and fentanyl primarily. Some marijuana, some alcohol, and a lot of those are contributing factors to motor vehicle. In other words, they didn't die of fentanyl because they killed themselves in a motor vehicle accident first, but they were on their way out regardless of whether they hit something. Because they were overdosed.
No exempt, no families exempt, no family.
No, it makes no difference. Drugs are, and the worst thing in the world, and when you go to a conference, the first thing they tell you is the people making this stuff, they didn't pass chemistry in high school, and it didn't pass business either, because if you're cutting your product with fentanyl, which kills your clientele, your business model's on the downside. So, I mean, we can make light of that, but it's a serious thing for everybody. And like he said, it's fentanyl. It will work on opioids. It doesn't work on methamphetamines, and it doesn't work on fentanyl at all, or the new with Kroger. And they can walk into Quick Stop, Valero's on the corner, and they got a whole wall just to the left of the door of that Kroger product. Kroger, the stuff y'all banned tonight?
Kroger.
Yes.
Kroger or Crank?
K-R-A-T-O.
Okay, whatever it is, there's a whole wall of it there to the left of the door.
So there's gonna be some people upset about this.
Well, guess what? They can put beer back in that spot. It's legal. But if you can reach it, you can buy it. And that's the problem with it, is it doesn't, there is no restriction on it at all. It's not like cigarettes, where you gotta be of a certain age. You can reach the counter with the money, you can walk out the door with it. And that stuff is not regimented at all, but it's, there's no oversight.
What do they do, smoke it?
I don't know, 'cause I never done it.
It's edible, it's, you can, oh, you, just like you do
What
anyway.
thing, what thing?
What's
Other
it?
bar or something?
Gummies, there's a whole, well, stop in the store and just look on the wall, it looks like tobacco, it looks like, a liquid, it looks like, candy.
You can vape it.
But that-
And search for a little machine, little vape machines. There's a lot of things you can do.
I'm going to go back and listen to the, meeting, but I don't think I'll be answering.
Any more public comments? If not, can we vote to adjourn? All in favor?
Uh,
Take myself on.
Yeah.
Hey, Michael.